The chair recognizes Mr. Stauber for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Bem, these are going to be particular questions to you. In the Lottery Act, going from the lottery to the first come, first serve, I just want to ask you a few questions. In your testimony, you stated that your goal, quote, is to distribute the quota of permits to the public in an equitable manner. If you were not aware, my constituents in Ely, Minnesota, and Grand Marais, Minnesota, have little to no access to reliable internet. Do you expect cooperators in the district with unreliable internet service to compete with folks nationwide that have strong internet access?
Sir, I was actually not aware of the limited
Okay,
internet access.
thank you. And I'm glad you said you were not aware of that. Furthermore, your testimony claims the improvements include search and navigation tools that more intuitively provide access to information and the ability to return results based on a map search or areas of interest, and allows the ability to directly communicate with staff and visitors. Now, I would like you to I want to read some complaints to you. This is on March 6th. This is a terrible system, on there and ready before 9 a.m. and did not get a single permit. Not the experience we were hoping for when we booked this trip originally. On March 4th, this was too stressful. Please bring back the old system. One more. Hey, Bob, I just got off the phone with rec.gov for 45 minutes. By the time I got a human, the day use permits for the month of June were gone. That trip is one of our favorite things. It's just too bad. A consistent complaint I hear is that none of my cooperators or local citizens, Mr. Bem, that know the area well were ever allowed input. Was there any local input in the change? Not telling them about the change, but was there local input on the change?
Sir, I'll have to get back with you on that. I'll have to check the region on that. You bet.
My question or my comment is this. Mr. Bem, I held 2 meetings. By the way, I want to say thank you for your service as a representative of the United States Forest Service.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for that. All these years, you have a lot of experience. But I want to tell you about an experience I had in a meeting when a cooperator in Ely, Minnesota has been doing it for 50 years, because I had a hearing over this disaster that the Forest Service pushed on us. He said, Congressman Stauber, it's a waste of time to work with the Forest Service because they haven't listened in 50 years. That was a grave and a great concern to me. Because, Mr. Bem, who is the U.S. Forest Service and who do they work for?
We work for the American public, sir.
Thank you. We the people. And to have the U.S. Forest Service take a system that they felt didn't work and shove it down the throats of the cooperators in Ely, Minnesota and Grand Marais in the most beautiful, pristine wilderness, the BWSA, that this country has to offer, and change it without any input is disgraceful. And when I have a cooperator in Ely, Minnesota, Mr. Bem, the economy is real fragile. These cooperators need the business. And when a cooperator says this change in one group of people cost him $15,000, that's real money, Mr. Bem. I am disappointed in the United States Forest Service, and I will tell you this, not our local foresters, but I'm disappointed that this decision came from Washington, D.C. This is exactly what the concern the public has with bureaucrats making these decisions. The BWCA is a beautiful wilderness for us all to enjoy. And the U.S. Forest Service went and changed the way the system was to work. And when I asked why, well, we had some complaints. That was why. Mr. Bem, in your testimony, you state, reinstating the previous lottery system would cause management challenges. Mr. Bem, I tell you what, management challenges for the bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. don't even equate to the problems the cooperators have in Ely, Minnesota and Grand Marais. So your management problems, Mr. Bem, in the U.S. Forest Service are brought to Ely, Minnesota, where we can't even get people to get into the permitting system, and the cooperators are losing money. So my constituents matter more than your management problems. Mr. Bem, I will say this. The U.S. Forest Service must start listening to the people. You said you work for the people. Madam Chair, I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Stauber.